Okay, so we are supposed to discuss about the we are supposed to discuss about the various components of the ecosystem today. Now we have to understand that there are the various components of the ecosystem. According to various ecologists, there are the two major components of the ecosystem. As ecosystem is the functional unit of nature. So it has various components. Now, what are the main two components of the ecosystem? The main two components of the ecosystem is the biotic component and the abiotic component, right? Where there is interaction between the two components on the okay. So on the basis of the components of ecosystem, there are various components of the ecosystem, and the two components of the ecosystem are biotic and abiotic component. I don't know. So we were discussing about the components of the ecosystem. There are the two components of the ecosystem, biotic component and abiotic component. If we talk about the biotic components, what are the biotic components of the ecosystem? Come on. What are the biotic components of ecosystem? I am waiting for the answers. Come on.
Human beings. Human.
It is only human
Living
All
beings.
living organisms.
Living
Components.
flora, fauna.
It is human beings may be one of the components, but there are different yeah. The biotic component is a broad term which is used for each and every living thing which is present on the planet Earth, right? It is used for each and every living substance which is present on the planet Earth. So it has a broad meaning, right? So biotic component are those components which are living one, which are the living organisms which are present on this planet are known as biotic components. And abiotic components are the one which are the non-living components, which help the life to flourish on this planet. Otherwise, they are in the solar system. How many planets are there? If we talk about a very small system in comparison to this whole universe, if we talk about the solar system, how many planets do we have?
8.
Yeah. Along with the excluding the Earth, there are 8 planets, right? But out of them, and so far, or wherever we have reached, up to this time, we have not been able to find out life on neither a planet nor any other celestial object which we come across. Now, there must be some special conditions present on the Earth which has helped the life to flourish on this planet. Isn't it? So all those components which help life to flourish on this planet are termed as with abiotic components. Among the abiotic components, you can see there is the that there are so many sunlight. Without sunlight, is it possible that life could survive on this planet?
No, ma'am.
And what are other abiotic components because of which we cannot survive?
Water.
Water, air.
Yes. Air.
Then wind.
Okay.
Ma'am, food.
Right.
So abiotic components means all those components which help the life to flourish on this planet. Among them, there can be the climatic factors. It is not only the air and this, there are so many climatic factors. It has made the life possible on this planet Earth. Like climatic factor can be this, the presence of various, you can see the amount of light we receive from the sun. We are at a right distance from the sun. Because if we have been quite nearer to the sun like Mercury, was it possible that life flourished on this planet?
No. No, ma'am.
It
No,
was
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
plus. If we have been quite far away, like there is Neptune, Pluto, was it possible that life could have? Because
No, ma'am.
sunlight,
Ma'am.
there is not enough sunlight which is reaching to them. So so Earth is at the right position, at right distance to receive the right amount of sunlight. This is also one of the factors which has helped the life to flourish on this planet. And even you can see that temperature. Yeah, if you consider a part of Earth which has been somehow a part of Earth's moon, the celestial object has been part of Earth, then because the asteroid strikes the Earth and a part of it got separated and it starts surrounding the Earth and became a satellite, and that is moon. It was a part of Earth. But now today, on the surface of the moon, there is no life, and on the planet Earth, there is life, although it is a part of Earth. So what is special about the Earth? You can see that we are having a moderate temperature on Earth. You know, the temperature changes at this moon only. If you will consider the temperature change, the temperature difference on the surface of the moon, you will be very, very surprised to find out that during the night, the temperature of the moon goes up to minus 150 degrees Celsius. And during the day, it goes beyond 100 degrees Celsius, plus 100 degrees. So you can see that there is a lot of temperature difference. But here on the Earth, we are always having the moderate temperature. It has also helped the life to flourish. So temperature is also one of the components which has helped the life to flourish on this planet. Okay. Along with it, there are the wind speed. All right. There is the presence of water. Plus, there are the right amount of minerals which are present in the earth, which has helped the plants to survive on this planet. Like, what are the main components required by the plant? What are the main, you can say, that what are the main ingredients, what are the main nutrients of the plant?
Carbon dioxide, sunlight, and
carbon
chlorophyll.
dioxide.
Sunlight, water, sunlight,
I'm asking about nutrients. There are the three major nutrients which are required by the plant for to grow. And
nitrogen.
Nitrogen.
Carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide.
No. It is carbon dioxide is required for the process of photosynthesis. There are three major nutrients. In the class 9th, you have discussed that there are three major nutrients which are required by the plant. NPK.
Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium.
Yes, nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. And you know, our earth contains all these things in the right amount. All these chemicals in the right amount which help the plant to grow. If these components would have been absent, was it possible that life would have been flourished on this planet?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Because the first thing which flourished on this planet was plant, was the microbe. Then With the help of the microbes, then there were the small plants. And it was because of these non-living components that life was possible on this planet. So they play a very vital and important role in the ecosystem. They are the two major components of the ecosystem. And if we talk about the biotic components, the biotic components are the living organism, the living components which are present in the plant. It is not only the human, it is the producer, the consumer, the decomposers. Whom we call as producers, because
Who synthesize their own food.
yes, who can synthesize their own food. Autotrophs, you can call them as autotrophs. Autotrophs have the ability to synthesize their own food. Why? Why do they have such ability?
Because they have chlorophyll present in them, so that they
Because
can
they
trap
can
sunlight in
perform
themselves and
photosynthesis.
make their own food.
They are having a green colored pigment present in the chloroplast, that's called as chlorophyll, which help in trapping of sunlight and converting it into chemical energy. Then along with it, there are other abiotic components like CO2, water, which help in the process of photosynthesis, which help the producers to synthesize their own food. So producers are also one of the components. Producers are the one which are able to synthesize their own food. Then there are consumers, whom we call as consumer.
Which are dependent on food.
Yes, which
are
depends
dependent
on
on
Heterotrophs.
they don't have the ability to synthesize their own food. For their food, they depend on producers. Right? There are two types of consumer. One is primary consumer and one is secondary consumer. Can you differentiate between the primary consumer and secondary consumer? Even there is tertiary consumers. Is there anyone who can tell me whom we call as primary consumers? Those who directly derive their nutrition from the plant, they are called as primary consumers, like deer, cow, right?
Ma'am, herbivores.
Yeah, herbivores. Right? Herbivores are those who eat only plants and those who are directly dependent on the plant for their food. Then there are secondary consumers. Secondary consumers are the one who depend upon
Those
the
primary
herbivorous
consumer.
animal, who depend upon the primary consumer. But ultimately, it is the plant which they are taking. Because if herbivores are not there, then the carnivorous animal will not be able to procure the food. Right? Carnivores are those who eat what?
flesh and meat.
Flesh of other
and
animals.
meat.
Flesh of other animals. Right? And then there are tertiary consumers.
Omnivore.
Tertiary consumers, which can be described as decomposers. Sorry, decomposers is the another. Then there is the tertiary consumer, like if we talk about parasites, right? Parasites like who derive their food from living organic matter. Who derive their food from living organic. All right, like there are the parasites like mosquito. Mosquito is a parasite because it derives the nutrition from the human blood. All right, and we are living. It derives its nutrition from us. And there are some plants which are also parasites. Can you name some plant which?
Insectivorous plant.
Yes, Casicuta.
Amarbean.
Amarbean. That is a type of parasite, right? Then there are omnivorous animals, whom we call as omnivorous animal.
Those who eat plants and non-flesh food.
Those who can eat flesh and meat both, and humans are the one whom we can call as omnivores, because we eat both flesh as well as plants.
Plants.
We can directly depend on plants, or we can consume the plants in other way also, indirectly also. Okay. Then we are talking about decomposers. Who we got? Decomposers, let me tell you one of the name, just to give you an idea about the decomposers. They are also called as scavengers. They are called as housekeepers. Why? Why?
Because they eat the deadly decaying organism.
They obtain their food from dead and decaying matter.
Yeah, they obtain their food from dead and decaying matter and help in keeping the environment clean. Let me tell you, on daily basis in the all over the world, there must be at least thousands of animals which die on daily basis in the forest. All over the world, thousands of animals. But it is because of these decomposers only that the planet is clean. These microbes only which help in decaying, which help in decomposition, and make them and decompose the organism in such a way that they will derive their food from that decaying matter, plus whatever is remaining, it will be the nutrient for the plants. If we talk about the nitrogen cycle, let me tell you what is nitrogen cycle, because in class 9th you have not studied about the nitrogen cycle.
Excuse ma'am.
Yes.
Please let Ananya in the class.
Okay. No problem. Just a moment. If I talk about the nitrogen cycle, where the decomposers play a very vital and important role. Who depend on plants for their food? It is the producer, the consumers. It is the consumer who depend upon the producer for their food. There may be primary consumer, there may be secondary consumer, but ultimately the food which is produced by the plant, when the consumer consume it, the glucose which is consumed by the consumers, right, which is taken from the plant, right, it get converted into protein and get confined into the body of the organism in the form of protein, right. When the organism die, whether it is animal, whether it is small insect also, when the animal die, the protein which is confined in the body of the dead animal, first of all, there will be the scavengers who are going to tear it, right, and who are going to derive their food from the dead organic matter. All right. There are vultures, there are eagles and all that. They will derive their food from this, the organism which has died. Okay. Then whatever is remaining back, once these jackals, all the those who feed on the dead organism will make up from the organism. Okay. Will take all the food from the organism. Then whatever is left behind, the protein which is confined in the body of dead organism will be converted into ammonia by the ammonifying bacteria, right? Again, the plant is eaten by primary consumer or secondary consumer or tertiary consumer. Then when these consumers die in the forest or somehow anywhere, even if they are buried in the soil, what happens to them is that first of all, there will be the scavengers who will derive their food from them. Scavengers can be eagles, scavengers can be vultures, scavenger can be wolves, hyenas, right? They derive, like a massive elephant died. So first of all, these vultures, snake, all these will derive, vultures will derive its food, eagle will derive its food, these hyenas will derive its food from the dead organic matter. Then whatever is left behind, the protein which is confined in the body of that organism will be converted into ammonia by ammonifying bacteria. This is the decomposer which convert the protein which is confined in the body of dead organism into ammonia, right? Then ammonia cannot be used by the plant. Then it needed to be converted into nitrates and nitrites. This process is called as nitrification, and it is done by Nitrosomonas group of bacteria. It is done by Nitrosomonas group of bacteria. Then again, these nitrates can be used by the plants. So you can see decomposers play a very vital and important role in decomposition, in changing the complex molecule into the simpler one, so that the producers can again utilize it and convert it back into the complex molecule. This is how the decomposers help in cleaning of this environment, keeping our environment clean, neat and clean, right? It is only we people who are adding the waste to this planet. Otherwise, this planet has its own system of keeping the planet clean and clear, right? So decomposers play a very vital and important role, and they are also one of the important components of the ecosystem. That is what we call as biotic component. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
ma'am.
Now, we have to discuss, just I told you that in consumers, we are having different levels, trophic levels. And why do we need food? What is the use of having the food? Why do we require food?
to
Cannot
get
we,
nutrients which
To
can
gain energy.
gain the energy.
you know, how can you describe yourself that you people are alive? What is it that you,
Movement group.
yes,
We are moving and we are able to breathe.
isn't it?
We perform different processes like respiration, digestion, excretion,
Yes.
transportation.
We are able to do the life processes. And now you are not small kids who will see, who will talk that, ma'am, we are breathing, eating this and that. You already have read about life process. So you must understand that to maintain these life processes, what we require? What is the requirement?
Energy.
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 Can these life processes be carried out without the involvement of energy?
No.
No, ma'am.
No. So if the criteria to stay alive is to carry out the life processes, and to carry out the life processes we require energy, then to get that energy, what we require?
We require food and nutrients.
Food, nutrients,
Nutrients.
isn't it? So that